Hello there, dear friends. Welcome to the pre-show for the Potterverse. Really excited to have you on here. And of course, the pre-show is the time when you get to say a little hello yourself. You get to let us know where you're tuning in from, what house you're in, and,
Have you ever had an aunt or uncle that you just couldn't stand?
and why?
Yeah.
And a brief little short thing. I mean, we don't need to get into your entire family history, but you can let us know. Or do you love your family? If so, you're lucky. You are lucky.
Everybody's got like an aunt, like an Uncle Joe that they're not into.
Yeah.
You know, or like an Uncle Ted.
Yeah.
Like Uncle Ted shows up, you're like, oh man, you smell.
Poor Teds. Poor Teds in the world. This is also a great time to hit that share button below. You can share on your stories, your wall, your favorite Harry Potter groups. You can even share actually into Messenger. So if you're on Instagram, you can take a screenshot and share it into your stories. Twitter, you can retweet. YouTube, you can share however you like. And on Facebook, as I said, there's several ways for you to share. And what we ask of you is if you do share, you come back here to our main chat thread and you write Expecto Patronum, and we're going to give you a little shout out. So to start things off, we can scroll on up to the top, Blake, so we can announce who has already shared.
I did. The first one is Allison, thank you so much. And then Caitlin, thank you. Melissa, thank you. Who else we got here?
Anna.
Anna, thank you so much. Rachel, thank you. Everybody is sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are averaging between 15 and 17 shares per podcast. I would love to get up northward of 20 in this episode if we could. I think that'd be fun. So please do so.
Thank you, Tamara.
Whoever is watching.
Susan.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's have some fun, shall we?
Yes,
Susan,
we
excellent.
shall.
Tamara, thank you so much.
Susan, you are lucky if you have no annoying aunts or uncles.
Oh, you are so lucky, man. Oh, forget about it.
You got your empty Coke can over here.
Oh,
some
yeah.
extra decor.
Yeah, sorry
I'm
about
really
that.
excited. We're doing the advent calendar of Harry Potter Funko Pops, me and the kids. And they're just like these 1.5 inch tall Funkos. Day 1 was Harry. Day 2 was Dumbledore dressed in like some amazing Christmas inspired sleepwear. Huge fan. Can't wait to see what number 3 is.
Oh, look at
But our little
this.
lass was saying maybe we should line them up here for a little while.
All right, excellent. Jolene, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jolene.
Ian, thank you so. Actually, Ian's a brand new member at Join the Nerd Clan.
Thank you, Ian.
So thank you for joining, and I think might be the first time he's joining us live. I think because
Awesome.
there was a comment made on one of our YouTube pages.
I will tell you, Ian, that our biggest chatter happens on our Facebook page. So if you want to be, but there are several people who join us on YouTube Live. So
Yes, absolutely.
if you want, just letting everybody know where most of the chatter happens.
Lila, thank you so much. That's a great song, by the way. Lila from Oasis. Hey, Lila. Sorry.
Commandment.
Yes, it's commandment. Not supposed to sing. So, Lila, please tell me you know that Oasis song. I just have to know that. All right, excellent.
Oh, the Yule Ball. It is. Is this one the Yule Ball? It might be. I know that the Lego ones, Melissa's saying that she loved the Funkos. I know the Lego Harry Potter one is Yule Ball inspired this year. So that's been really fun. It was, day 1 was Harry dressed up with like a Yule Ball invite. And then day 2 was a super mini Hogwarts. But it actually is amazing. Like in just
cool.
a few pieces, it looks like Hogwarts.
Cool. Very cool. All right, Marvin, are you ready to make a... Jolene says, leave the singing to Mary, please. Yes, absolutely.
Aw.
I will, especially after my very poor showing
Hogwarts.
in my Hoggy Hogwarts song. Yeah, not great, Bob. Not great. All right,
It's all good, Blake.
let's get her done, shall we?
Yes, we should.
Let's make a podcast. 10 seconds for...
Room tone.
Let's do it.
Head on over to jointhenerdclan.com and become part of the official Nerd Clan community. There you get access to premium podcasts, like our Keep Calm and Crown On podcast for all of you who love the Netflix show The Crown, as well as so many other podcasts that we have, free swag, bonus question and answer sessions, After Doc podcasts, and so very much more. So you can learn more and check it all out by heading to jointhenerdclan.com. From Providence, Rhode Island, welcome to the Potterverse. It's a podcast dedicated to the Harry Potter book and film universe. So grab your favorite wands and time turners. Let's step into the night and pursue that flighty temptress adventure. Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name's Mary Larson.
My name is Blake, and all is right in the world again. You want to know why?
Why?
Because I'm not wearing a Hufflepuff t-shirt.
Oh, but
And
you
I-
will again one day.
And I can rank on those puffs all
You
I
better
want.
not. We already talked about
All I
this.
want in this episode.
How about you just rank on yourself?
I fulfilled my obligation last episode, and I'm back in rare
You know who
form.
we can totally hate on though is Marge. We can hate on Marge in this episode
Oh,
together. We can
Marge.
unite under the hatred of
Man,
Marge.
Who's worse, Marge or Umbridge?
Ooh,
That's a good question, ain't it? That's a good question.
That is a very good question.
You take a hot second to think about that.
I'm going to. Umbridge is like the
let that
wizard
soak.
version
Oh,
of
yeah.
Muggle Marge.
Man,
If one were
Umbridge
to
is bad.
say that all of Harry Potter's experiences are one big dream, kind of like in the vein of Dorothy and Wizard of Oz,
Yep.
Umbridge would be played by Marge.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Good point. Good point.
Like all these people that are in his real life, who would they be in his dream? Who would be his scarecrow? Who would be his cowardly lion?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
Yep, absolutely. All right. So yeah, everybody, thank you so much for listening to us. We're in the early beginnings of The Prisoner of Azkaban, as you
Whoop,
guys
whoop.
know from the title of this podcast, and I am so excited for this book. I just love this book.
Agreed.
And but as always, we start with the title of the chapter, Aunt Marge's Big Mistake. And Marvin,
Yes.
what is the quote that we have for today?
Aunt Marge, the quote, sorry. At Dudley's 5th birthday, Aunt Marge had whacked Harry around the shins with her walking stick to stop him from beating Dudley at musical statues. A few years later, she had turned up at Christmas with a computerized robot for Dudley and a box of dog biscuits for Harry. On her last visit the year before Harry started at Hogwarts, Harry had accidentally trodden on the tail of her favorite dog. Ripper had chased Harry out into the garden and up a tree, and Aunt Marge had refused to call him off until past midnight.
Oh my goodness.
The memory of this incident still brought tears of laughter into Dudley's eyes. To
Dudley's
which
the
I
worst.
wrote, does Harry not like dogs?
That's a good question.
Which would be an interesting thing in this book.
Yeah, absolutely. Because,
Like, I
you
think
know,
he's just had really bad experiences with dogs all of his life. He was
Sure.
even given dog biscuits as a present.
Mhm.
And then, of course, we had Fluffy last year. Now, mind you, he's had decent experiences with Fang, but few and far in between.
Fang's he's useless.
Fang's a piece of furniture.
He just sits there and drools.
So does Harry not like dogs? And does his opinion of dogs change?
Is it? Let me ask you before we get into the rest of the show. Is it coincidence that Aunt Marge brings a dog, and of course,
don't think
this,
it's a
the
coincidence.
serious of it all
the
is
Grim being a dog?
Yeah. Is there
I
a
don't think
connection
it's
there?
I think it's a connection.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's just this like fear. Like think about it. Harry was driven up a tree and not called off until midnight because of a dog.
right.
So for us to have a dog theme going on, which may be quite scary in this book, it starts here.
Yep, absolutely. All right, well, before we get into the rest of the show, ladies and gents, just wanted to remind you that you can find us at
You no
Mary-
longer want my synopsis.
What?
You no longer want my synopsis?
No, we do that after.
Oh.
Okay.
This is what happens when I take a week off to do The Crown.
You know what? You continue, my love. You are the best at this, so.
It says talk about the quote for a bit.
Oh my goodness gracious. We
I did
just did that. Oh my God. We are out of practice. All right, find us at maryandblake.com, ladies and gents. And if you want, join us on the social communities that we have at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube, and any else that you could think of except for TikTok, because TikTok sucks and I refuse to pay attention
I
to it.
talked.
I know you did. You talked, and I'm out on the
TikToked.
talking. Is that the verb for
I don't even
for
know
TikToking?
what the verb of TikToking is. Is it I TikToked? I was TikToking.
I
I made a
talked.
talk.
I was talking.
I made I don't even
I
know.
was ticking.
We're so on the out.
I was double T'ing.
This is how
I
we
was
know.
T squared.
It is at this moment on this day that you and I realize we are
We're
out.
old. We are way old.
We don't know the verb of tic-tac.
And of course, join the brand new Mary and Blake Facebook group where you can nerd out about pretty much anything that you want. If it's Harry Potter, you can interact with all the different members that are already there. If it is about Outlander, which we have a podcast about, or if it's about The Crown or This Is Us or anything, any movies that you guys love, just anything that you think our nerd clan would adore, you can nerd out about it there. Just look it up, Mary and Blake Facebook group, and we will let you on in. So, you ready to get into the rest of the show, Marvin?
Truly am.
Let's do it.
I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good.
Guess what? The worst aunt ever, Aunt Marge, is coming to visit, and she's hanging on over at Privet Drive, except she makes Harry upset by speaking ill of his family. So Harry accidentally blows her up. Not like, but literally like blows her up like a balloon and then leaves.
Yes, that's... And then, yeah, he takes off. It's a good cliffhanger, man.
It's great.
I like how this cliffhanger works.
Me too.
Because where's Harry going to go? What's he going to do? He's 13 years old. But at the same time, it also works because of the mystery of it all. But it also works because we have... hold on one second. Okay. Sorry, our son is downstairs visiting us right now. So, and he looks a little flustered. That's okay. So we have this idea here that Harry is leaving, okay? And he just ups and takes off. And there's the mystery of where is he going to go? What's he going to do? How is he going to handle all this stuff, right? How is he going to handle just being on his own? But there's also this other layer to it as well. Harry himself is just taken off. And he's no longer going to be bound by the rules that the Dursleys make. There's this point when I think Harry realizes, I'm just going to go. I'm going to take off. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to stop me? You're just a guy. You're a jag. That's what you are. Just another guy. And you think that you're going to tell me, oh, I'll pound the stuffing out of you? So what? What are you going to do? I got a wand, bro. What are you going to do against my wand? And that there in and of itself is a huge step forward. Harry he begins the chapter by asking Uncle Vernon to sign this letter because he wants to go to Hogsmeade. A totally normal, typical thing that a kid would do because he wants to spend time at Hogsmeade with his friends. Something he thinks that he needs, and he needs Uncle Vernon to sign it. And throughout the entire chapter, we have Harry referring back in his inner monologue, constantly saying when Aunt Marge is there, please, just hold on. Just hold on. For the love of God. For the love of God, hold on. Think about the brooms and think about all the things that are happening around you that will make you happier. You were able to go to Hogsmeade as Mary returns. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Is everything okay with our boy?
Yes.
Okay. As Harry, he's thinking about what he has to do to just stay in line so that he can have Uncle Vernon sign this letter to go to Hogsmeade. And as I was saying, Mary, I know you weren't here. You were dealing with our son. I was saying that Harry begins the chapter by asking Uncle Vernon for this thing and kind of giving him an ultimatum, but he knows he needs it. But by the end of the chapter, he tells Uncle Vernon to basically screw and say, hey, I'm out. See you later. And there's nothing that you can do to stop me. There's nothing that you can do to hurt me. Anything that you think you can do to me is nothing because I'm out and I'm my own person. He's 13 years old now. Maybe the things that I have and the things that I say and the things that I want actually have validity.
I gotta tell you, this frightens me as a parent. Because I know me as a 13-year-old, I would have felt this strongly. Now, granted, I didn't have the atrocities done to me that Harry Potter did. But, man, yeah, when you're 13, you are bold as brass.
Yeah, because you finally
ways.
get the idea that I got ideas.
Yeah.
And you know what? Your ideas suck. My ideas are good.
Maybe.
You know, I mean, it's for some kids, and some kids just say, "What are you gonna do?" I remember the time when my mother, I think I hit 6 feet by the time I was like in 8th grade.
Oh my God. Of course.
Right around then. And my mother was, you know, 5 foot nothing, you know, this 125 pounds soaking wet woman. And I was 6 feet, you know, 195 pounds by the time I was in 8th grade. And I said, she's like, you know, if you keep acting up, you're going to get it. I said, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Ooh, you've said that
I did.
to her.
I said, you're this big. I could squash you like a bug. And
that will not go over
and
well.
and I was saying it playfully, but also kind of serious at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
She did not take.
No, I believe it.
No, she didn't. No.
Time for a timeout.
I could tell you what she would say, but some of you may not appreciate what she said. She threatened me with something that was not good.
Yeah.
So that's that. I love the journey that Harry goes on in this chapter, going from needing Uncle Vernon to saying, "I'm out. See you later."
Yeah.
And,
I'm all done with
there's
you.
nothing that you can do. And not only that, I'm going to threaten you with magical powers. And whether or not that is real, whether or not Harry would actually do it, or he wouldn't do it if he was just acting out of rage, the fact remains that he purposely kicked open his trunk, got his wand, pointed it at Uncle Vernon and said, "No. What are you going to do?"
Yeah.
I love that. It's such a fantastic way to have Harry start his journey. And
Agreed.
And it foreshadows, I think, what we talked about last episode, Mary. Harry growing and having it be more about Harry the kid as opposed to Harry the wizard. It's about the person and not the thing. And how that danger that Harry is getting himself into by going off and making these
running
decisions,
away, yeah.
Yeah, he's putting himself out there and he's going to be exposed. So I really, really, really liked how it begins and ends.
Agreed. You know, in this chapter, we hear just the whisperings, of course, of Sirius Black. The public is warned that Black is armed and extremely dangerous. A special hotline has been set up, and any sighting of Black should be reported immediately. And there's actually some good conversation between Uncle Vernon and Petunia. You know, they're talking actually about how they should just be hanging these people nowadays. And Aunt Petunia's looking out the window, seeing if she can be the one to catch him. And then Vernon even brings him up to Marge, you know, like, "Oh, by the way, did you hear about that escaped convict?" And so it's interesting because I will be honest, when I first read this book, to me, it was just like, it was nothing. Because when we first read the first Harry Potter book, there was a newscaster, you know, just talking about the weather. And then later on they talked about, "Oh, didn't believe it, but there was a shower of owls." Like, even in the news, the author has really interwoven little sprinklings of what's going to be happening in upcoming chapters. But I missed it. I missed it in my first read. This Sirius Black, this escaped convict, it just went over. And yet it was mentioned twice in this chapter.
Right.
And what's interesting now, being an older reader and getting used to this author, is I wonder if I read this now with fresh eyes, knowing that there isn't a single thing put inside these books that is a mistake, that doesn't come back like later on, specifically with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone isn't necessarily noticed or noted without there being something about them later on.
Mm-hmm. I think the author does retcon some things. I think the author does fix irregularities.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right, Mary. Each item that she places into a story, it's there with intent. There's very little waste. She's very efficient. There are some authors, George R. R. Martin, that go down routes and introduce people and go off on huge tangents for pages upon pages that really mean bupkis.
Yeah.
And that bothers me. Diana Gabaldon does that sometimes too, with Outlander. But the author for Harry Potter is very efficient with her writing and very, very...
She has to be, though, too, because it's a completely different demographic that she's writing for.
And, you know,
it's not necessarily this world building and this civilization building in the sense that... I mean, it's a complete different world, but I think she would lose the attention span of the children.
Well, I think you're right. in that she's not creating an entirely different world, because the wizarding world and the real world, as we've talked about, run parallel to each other. There are some things that are easily translatable. It's not Game of Thrones. It's not Lord of the Rings, where you have to describe whole different lands and religions and customs. And the author does have to do that for this book, but because they run parallel with each other, there are things that are easily translatable. And when she does have to do some good world building, she does it in a way that's not just info dump. It's interesting. It's something like Ron talking on the phone, screaming into the phone, hello, just not knowing how to do
Harry's friend from Hogwarts.
it. That is world building in and of itself. And granted, it seems funny, but it's there for a purpose, and it's there to explain the differences and the different languages between the worlds. Something else that happens here too is there's a big to-do about Sirius Black's hair. Like, Uncle Vernon says, look at his hair. Look at it all matted down. Blah, blah. Of course, look at him. Of course he's a ruffian, or whatever he says. Again, that's there for a purpose.
Look at the state of him, the filthy layabout. Look at his hair. He shot a nasty look sideways at Harry, whose untidy hair had always been a source of great annoyance to Uncle Vernon. Compared to the man on the television, however, whose gaunt face was surrounded by a matted, elbow-length tangle. Harry felt very, very well groomed indeed.
And I think that's on purpose. We have Uncle Vernon already making a connection, even if it's subconscious, making a connection between Harry, whom he hates, and this guy who just escaped prison and is apparently a murderer. That is not wasted words. I think that's there on purpose. Would you agree?
I agree. I totally agree. I do need to go down a little route with you. So we go on, and Harry tries to bring up the permission slip form. I swear I'll remember that when I'm supposed to go back to school, I'll actually act like a muggle. I mean, a normal and everything. And of course, he kind of does that ultimatum with Vernon, which works in his favor in the beginning, at least. But then later on, Harry goes and he has to. Would you mind helping me?
Sure.
He has to, tell Hedwig to fly home, to fly with Errol, to get out of here because he needs to act on his best behavior. Can't be having her squawking. And he says, it's not my fault. It's the only way I'll be able to visit Hogsmeade with Ron and Hermione. So, do owls understand English?
I think, yes. I think it's
'Cause
implicit
they
in the
know
text. They know where to go. Yeah.
Who to see, who to deliver packages to. I mean, they can do it when, wizards can't even find people at all. She can deliver things to Sirius Black in the future.
Right, absolutely.
What? Owls understand English?
And, I think they do. I think it's implicit that owls do.
Yeah.
Now,
I just need to, I need to state it.
Oh, man. That is so
I just
funny.
need to put it out there. I literally am underlining. I'm like, whoa, owls understand English. I just think it's quite extraordinary.
Harry, in this chapter, even though he needs something from Uncle Vernon, I really like what the feel of Harry is in this chapter. And it really shows up in this writing. Firstly, growled Uncle Vernon, you'll keep a civil tongue in your head when you're talking to Marge. All right, said Harry bitterly. If she does, when she's talking to me. Oh. Secondly, said Uncle Vernon, acting as though he had not heard Harry's reply, as Marge doesn't know anything about your abnormality, I don't want any funny stuff while she's here. You behave yourself, got me? I will, if she does, said Harry through gritted teeth.
Does that mean that he can hear? Is he saying it super small, I will if she does? Or is he saying it enough that Vernon can hear?
Oh, absolutely. I think, again, implicit in the text is that Uncle Vernon can hear it because he purposely moves on to the second point as though he had not heard Harry's reply. So I think he definitely can hear Harry's reply as he's gritting his
Harry's
teeth.
sass.
Good
for Harry. Aunt Marge is the worst.
She is the worst. She is the worst. She sucks.
I mean, she's truly, she and Umbridge combined hold on to your butts.
Yeah.
But yikes. Yeah.
She
I
smells.
understand why Harry is so upset for her to be coming. And then she's a terrible house guest. It doesn't seem like Petunia's too happy to have her over either. You know?
Mhm.
First off, Petunia hates dogs.
Mhm.
And in comes Ripper. Like, oh, don't worry, he's going to have some of mine. Like, what are you doing? What do you even mean? Yikes. She talks about how the runt of her litter they had to have drowned. Like, oh my goodness gracious, lady.
Mhm.
Haven't you ever read Babe? Or, yeah, it was Babe. Like, what are we doing here?
Oh, man. Aunt Marge just sucks.
She
So-
sees Harry for the first time and says, so, still here, are you? Where do you think you would have gone?
I'm 13, bruh. What are we gonna do?
So he says yes. Don't say yes in the ungrateful tone. And I wouldn't have done it. You would have gone straight to an orphanage if you'd been dumped on my doorstep. Imagine that. This is her hello to Harry, who she's seen all of these years. And yet she still has to rub it in his face and say it to his face. I would have dumped you off at an orphanage.
Yep. I want to go over the bitch comment because I feel like, well, no, I can't say. I know that obviously she is talking, Aunt Marge is talking about a female dog, and that is an appropriate term for a female dog. We all know that. But that, to me, and the way that I've always...
It's Charlotte's Web, not Babe. Thank you.
Sure. That's it for nerds. That's like the same movie to me. It's got a pig, and they, I'm sure there's a spider and Babe somewhere. It's the same movie. I feel like, I know it is a direct, purposeful term that's used against Lily. Do you agree with that, or do you think that she's just so unaware of it? Because to me, it feels like she is very aware of what she's doing. Like she knows she's goading Harry. She even says, "Yeah, go on, Harry, keep going. You're proud of your family, aren't you?" Do you think that she's purposely goading Harry with that bitch comment?
Yes, but it's just so interesting because, of course, it's still part of Petunia's bloodline, Petunia's family. And so, I don't know, I kind of read into this, she's really kind of like differentiating she and Vernon away from like, ooh, that family line, but still, I'm just wired up for Harry. Sorry, I'm flabbergasted.
No, that's okay. Aunt Marge makes Vernon look like the Pope. I mean, what are we talking about? This woman is so vile. Purposely pissing off a 13-year-old about his parents who are dead. What kind of family did Aunt Marge and Uncle Vernon grow up in to make them this awful? Let's just talk about that for a second. Because
their parents gave them trophies for everything.
Oh, absolutely.
You ate all the cake, the
Here's a
whole thing.
trophy.
Here's a trophy.
Oh, man.
One of the things that I noted inside of it, she talks about his mother, and then she says, it all comes down to blood. As I was saying the other day, bad blood will out. Now I'm saying nothing against your family, Petunia.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, there was no shady eye going on, but it was interesting because she was saying something bad about her family before. She was talking badly about Petunia's sister, but now she's differentiating. Oh, okay, now we're gonna move on to the Potters. I'm not saying anything bad about your
it's the
family,
Potter.
Petunia. But your sister was a bad egg. They turn up in the best family. She ran off that wastrel, and here's the result right in front of us. And then she goes on to talk about the Potter. What's interesting is she says it all comes down to blood. And I underlined it because I feel like that's such a Death Eater thing to say.
Oh, yes, Mary, yes. Makes me want to shout. Excellent.
It all comes down to blood.
Yes. Oh, that was A1 right there.
So we
Marvin.
spent this whole previous book talking about blood, talking about Salazar Slytherin wanting the mud bloods out, what it takes to be a pure-blooded wizard, and how, different, particularly Slytherins, look at that in the wizarding world, how that gives you different ranking. So it's interesting that here we are just in the mere second chapter of this book, and a Muggle is talking about the differences of people's class of people's abilities based solely upon their blood. That
Sure.
the trials that we have in the Muggle world
Mm-hmm.
once again mirror the Wizarding world. You know, like, just like how we were saying how Harry was like being dumbfounded in the Wizarding world, yet here in chapter 1, it's Ron. It's Ron not knowing how to use the phone. And then same thing. There was bad blood
Mm-hmm.
in the Wizarding world that people would poo-poo if someone's a mudblood, and yet we're seeing that same kind of behavior here
Right.
in the Muggle world.
Yep. Again, parallel.
Yes.
Absolutely parallel. Just different forms, but parallel. The final bit in the chapter before. By the way, if you're reading the illustrated version,
Hold on tight.
the artwork for Aunt Marge blowing up is truly disturbing.
Yeah. Blake actually stopped and he called me aside and he said, "You have to look at this. Would you like to hold it up for our friends who are watching
Sure.
on live video by any chance?"
I mean, like that's it. Hold on, let's see if I get the.
I mean, you can't
Right
even
there.
get. You guys just need to Google search it.
yeah.
Aunt Marge, illustrated
It's like,
version.
It is just like her eyes are all bloodshot and popped out, and her face, like it definitely describes the way that it was written. I will say that.
It's gross.
I will absolutely say that.
Harry's so overcome with this powerful magic that he doesn't even mean to have. You know, of course, the bursting of the cup.
Yeah.
That he tears away from the dining room before anyone can stop him. He heads to the cupboards. The cupboard door bursts magically open as he reached it.
Yeah, right.
How awesome is that? Like his old room,
Yeah.
the place that he has spent all this time, it knows.
Okay,
All right,
time to
buddy.
go.
Let's giddy up.
Yep, we're gonna bust you out of here, and that brings up a great question that I want to talk about, Mary. The use of purposeful magic, charms, spells, that kind of thing, and then the undefinable magic. There's something that seems like a mysterious flow of wizards where your emotions can manipulate the
Yes.
world. Whether it is Aunt Marge's brandy cup, I got a firm grip, or it is her blowing up and just floating off into space. It feels like there's a lot more to the magical world than just the regular spells, brooms.
Yeah.
And it's really defined by your inner nature. It's really defined by the sanctity of who you are and how you interact with the world.
Makes me wonder, too, how important it is that wizard-born children or Muggle-born children are recognized by Hogwarts, by various schools, because think about it, like obviously these situations of Harry blowing up his aunt, of various situations, they happen during times of immense emotions, all right? And it's making me think a lot of Fantastic Beasts and where to find them.
Oh, with the kid, that's what the heck's the name of that thing?
What's his name? It begins with a C.
Oh, you're gonna have to vamp me. I'll figure it out.
Because we've been here in the Potterverse a bit more than the Fantastic Beasts universe.
Vamp.
I feel like it's a 2-syllable name too. But yes, the whole idea of in the Fantastic Beasts franchise, there is this individual who is very, very powerful, and he's able to, pretty much like blow things up because of his emotions, and the emotions get control of him. And it's making me see how, just in general, preteens and teens, there's a lot of hormones and a lot of emotions. And this is when it's happening for Harry. And this is when, Hagrid says, like, did you ever make anything happen, when you were scared or when you had a strong emotion?
Plays Credence.
Credence. There we go.
Credence.
So it's making me think of Credence and how important it is for the wizarding community to find the young wizard kids so that they can channel this energy into the right way. Because, Harry didn't need a wand in his hand to blow up his aunt. He didn't need a wand in his hand to do a lot of the things that he did as he started to get older and not yet know he was a wizard. So, not to say that Harry is Credence by any...
He's an Obscurial.
That's what it is, Obscurial. Thank you.
A human host for an uncontrollable magical force called an Obscurious, created when wizards tried to suppress their own magical abilities.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm not saying that that's Harry.
Hold on, let me just play this.
Night!
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Swing and miss. So no, I'm like trying. I'm like, oh, it begins with C and it's 2 syllables. So thank you all so much for those of you joining in right now.
Yep.
But that's, not to say that he's an Obscurious, but that maybe there's that little bit of that teenage angst that can do these things, that if it's not checked, if it's not trained in the right way,
Right.
it can get worse and it can affect other people.
Right.
So,
And we saw that in the Sorcerer's Stone when he makes the glass disappear.
Yes.
But this feels different. This feels...
And this is what I mean. I feel like as you get older and you have more extreme emotions, it can be taken this way. And that's why it is so important, not only for these people to learn the ways of the wizarding world, but like Harry doesn't need a wand to do this. And a lot of spells, when wizards are older, they're able to do it obviously without their wands, but that takes a lot of focus and a lot of expertise. And Harry's able to do it right now, not even meaning to. He didn't think like, I want to blow up my wife, my aunt. But he just did. So it kind of leads me in that kind of like Obscurious kind of way of like this passion and distress exploding in a way that is uncontrollable.
Sure.
And it's kind of just that whole like teenage angst that when you have this power, it can just explode and take off.
This feels though, you're right, teenage angst, but it feels elemental. It feels almost like the Force in Star Wars.
Yes.
Hold on. Let me play it. Hold on. It feels like the Force. It feels like something that is in and around us. It's not just you. It's not just the conduit. You are not as a wizard. You are. It feels like a conduit of something larger, and whether or not that can be manipulated or not manipulated in different ways, it feels like this is beyond Harry's.
Agreed.
Beyond Harry. Understanding, but beyond his capability, beyond his life.
Yeah.
This is larger, something.
But that's why I'm wondering, like, if is part of the aspect of Hogwarts almost more like that meditation, like channeling that energy, so that when you do get upset with your partner, when you do, stub your toe, or when you do get really upset at something terrible in the world, that you don't just have this like spurting off accidental magic. Is that part of the training that we don't read about?
Right.
But I'm just wondering that because he has it, is that part of the skill set that it allows it to be channeled?
It actually kind of reminds me a little bit. This is another nerd thing for you too. X-Men. And Jean Grey and how she becomes the Phoenix, and the walls that Professor Xavier had put up in her brain because he knew that she was uncontrollable, that her force was beyond recognition, and he put these walls up, and eventually she breaks those walls down and becomes the Phoenix. That feels
agreed
very much like that
because
too.
Harry is a powerful wizard. Is he the smartest apple in the bunch? No, Hermione obviously is, but Harry is actually like the most powerful. Well, he's able to get a Patronum that we find later just in his third year. So there's many reasons to show that he is a powerful wizard. He has a wand that has a core that matches the equivalence of the power of Voldemort's wand. So like this accidental magic, it's powerful and it's scary. And thank goodness this boy was sorted into Gryffindor and wants to do good in the world.
Denise here actually on Facebook asks a great question. Do you think that Harry is more powerful because of his interaction with Voldemort or being a Horcrux?
Both. Is it a both, or is that like, is he because of everything?
Maybe it's both.
That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like it's both. I'm feeling like because of this whole thing with Voldemort. So Voldemort, of course, that whole everything. What doesn't kill you makes
it always goes back to Kelly.
Always.
Kelly and the Godfather.
It did make him stronger. Yes.
The final bit here that I want to talk about is the writing. The writing here by the author as Aunt Marge is blowing up. I adore how this is written. It is
Read
real,
it to me, Blake.
And it is,
especially since I get to look at the bottom half picture of her. Yeah.
Here we go. They didn't die in a car crash, said Harry, who found himself on his feet. Notice that. Found himself on his feet. it's almost as if he is doing things without recognizing or without it is involuntary. It is something that happens. He sees himself doing. He's almost like he's looking at himself from outside of himself.
Yeah.
They died in a car crash, you nasty little liar, and you left you to be a burden on their decent, hard-working relatives, screamed Aunt Marge, swelling with fury. Notice that too. Swelling with fury. You are an insolent, ungrateful, little... And then there's this break, the dash. But Aunt Marge suddenly stopped speaking. For a moment, it looked as though words had failed her. She seemed to be swelling with inexpressible anger, but this swelling didn't stop. Her great red face started to expand. Her tiny eyes bulged and her mouth stretched too tightly for speech. Next second, several buttons burst from her tweed jacket and pinged off the walls. She was inflating like a monstrous balloon, her stomach bursting free of her tweed waistband, each of her fingers blowing up like a salami.
Ugh.
You can feel the action. You can feel the tension. Buttons bursting, fingers turning into salami, her face bulging, her mouth going so tight she can't speak. "Marge!" yelled Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia together as Aunt Marge's whole body began to rise off of her chair towards the ceiling. She was entirely round now, like a vast life buoy with piggy eyes, and her hands and feet stuck on weirdly as she drifted up into the air, making... I love this writing. Making apoplectic popping noises. Ripper came skidding into the room, barking madly, "No!" Uncle Vernon seized one of Marge's feet and tried to pull her down again, but was almost lifted from the floor himself. Next second, Ripper had leapt forward and sunk his teeth in Uncle Vernon's leg. And then everything goes from this moment of ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, and then it goes right into Harry.
Yep.
And that you can feel the tension.
Yep.
And that you can feel everything slow down. Harry tore from the dining room before anyone could stop him, heading for the cupboard under the stairs. The cupboard door burst magically open as he reached it. In seconds, he had heaved his trunk to his front door. He sprinted upstairs and threw himself under the bed, wrenched up the loose floorboards, and grabbed the pillowcase full of his birthday presents. He wriggled out, seized Hedwig's empty cage, and dashed back downstairs to his trunk just as Uncle Vernon burst out of the dining room, his trouser leg in bloody tatters. I love that. And then that tension of Uncle Vernon coming back. "Come back in here," he bellowed. "Come back and put her right." And then Harry says she deserved it. She deserved what she got. You keep away from me. And then he points his wand at him and he takes off. Excellent, excellent, excellent. That writing is perfect.
Agreed.
Perfect in every way. Just amazing.
Agreed.
So, anything else you want to talk about, Marvin?
No.
You want to get in some different perspective?
Sure.
All right, let's do it. Well, before we get into different perspective, wanted to let you know that it's brought to you by the Mary and Blake store. Got a brand new product in there.
Tell me.
Don't let the muggles get you down.
Don't let the muggles get you down, man.
You can get that. It is there at the maryandblakestore.com, and as well as all of the other Harry Potter items and merch that we have, in addition to everything Outlander, This Is Us, Mary and Blake brand, all the stuff that we got going on, it is there. Again, the maryandblakestore.com. Let's do it, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Holy cricket! You're Harry Potter! I'm Hermione Granger. And you are?
I'm going to be Aunt Marge.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna be Marge. Because you know what? It's too easy to be Duddy.
Oh.
Duddykins.
Duddykins? I didn't think it would be Duddykins.
It's too easy to be Vernon or
Okay.
Petunia.
Okay.
I could do Petunia a
I
little
was
bit.
thinking Petunia might be fun, but
Could-
go for Marge.
You know what? I want to show up. I want to have some fun. I want to drink some brandy.
We're gonna have a little nosh.
I want to have a little nosh. I mean, the fact that I use the word nosh makes me cool as it is, because I use the word nosh.
I'm gonna use the word nosh this week.
Sounds great to me.
I'm gonna nosh on the nosh.
Because you know why? Because I said it. Because I'm awesome. I think I'm great.
I breed dogs.
I breed dogs. I got all these dogs here, but I can't let Ripper go. I can't let him go because he's too precious to me.
He's no
gonna show
Claire. He's no Scottish Hound Dog Claire, but
up. I don't care what Petunia says because it ain't Petunia's house. It's my brother's house. And guess what? It's my brother. And he's going to let me do whatever I want because I overpower him at every single turn.
Why? How long are you staying?
I'm going to for however long I feel like. Could be a couple days. Could be a week.
What do you do?
I show up, I eat, I drink some brandy, give me some cake, I'll have some food, I'll nosh on the nosh. And you know what's not gonna ruin my day?
What?
Harry Potter.
Who?
That little kid. That little kid that showed up, on his drunk father and his useless mother. Listen. I said that Petunia is not you, but we all know Petunia sucks, and we all know that her sister, she sucks too, and it's fine. It's fine.
You know that Marge at her cribbage games, all she does is gossip about Petunia.
Because she doesn't take care of my husband. I mean, my brother. She doesn't do anything. He's the one who goes out to work. He's the one selling the drills. When I met that wench the first time, I didn't like her to begin with. The curly hair.
And if it wasn't for her,
yeah,
they wouldn't be having Harry Potter.
That's right. She's the one who brought the burden to my brother.
She probably begged him.
Yeah, she did.
We can't leave him out there. Listen, do you know what I do to runts?
So, yeah, this is what I do. And Harry ain't going to make nothing. I don't care what he says. He can go on about his dead dad, about his dead mom, all he wants. I know what happened. They're just useless, just like that little kid, Harry. And I want him out as soon as possible. And I'm going to show up. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to bust on him so bad he's going to want to leave. And what's he going to do to me? He's 13. He's 13. He can't do nothing to me. He's going to show up with his little glasses and his stupid hair. Come on. I don't think so.
End scene.
So
well done.
So that's that.
Well done, Blake.
Yeah, it's because, I'm awesome.
Time for some email and questions.
All right, here we go. Let's get the questions time. Listen, if you guys are listening on the podcast app and you are not live with us on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, that's okay. You can email us some questions that you have about this chapter, about anything Harry Potter, and we will mention it next episode. But for now, Mary, what must people do in the live chat?
Put a lightning bolt emoji before your question, and we'll scroll and see that and make sure that we read it aloud.
Let's do it, shall we?
Yes.
Oh, Mail's here.
All right, so let's see if we got the first questions in here. All right, Caitlin says, Harry doesn't have to go through an expulsion hearing for using magic to turn Aunt Marge into a balloon. Is there a way for the Ministry of Magic to tell if the magic was used by an underage student accidentally, or was it on purpose?
Ooh.
Well, my recollection from the book, and I know in the film, is that Cornelius Fudge talks about it as accidental magic. So he must know that there is a difference.
Okay.
That, again, it's that thing that, a kid of Harry's age isn't capable, really, of doing what happened to Marge.
Yeah, maybe he hadn't learned that, but first years learn Wingardium Leviosa. So when the cake had levitated, they were like, there was a Leviosa charm.
Yeah.
And we know Harry just perfected it this past year.
True.
Whereas he didn't learn how to blow people up charm.
Right.
That's for fifth years.
And the other thing, too, the other thing, too, is that does Fudge know Sirius Black's relationship?
Yeah.
He does. Okay.
Yeah.
So he knows that Sirius Black has escaped Azkaban, obviously. And he, even though he knows the relationship between Sirius and Harry, he still doesn't yet necessarily know
You'll find
that
out.
Sirius doesn't want Harry dead.
You'll find out.
So he has to protect Harry.
We're not there yet.
I know we're not there yet, but I'm just saying.
Oh.
This is a spoiler podcast. We can talk about this
Oh,
stuff.
no, I know.
So, yes, I think that there is a distinction that can be made. I think the text would suggest it, even though Fudge may have an ulterior motive because he knows he has to protect Harry. So he's saying, listen, I can't protect Harry if this kid's expelled from Hogwarts. He's got to learn this stuff. He's got to know. Right? So there is some kind of motivation to keep him in school and call it accidental magic. Sorry, Harry. Yeah, we know. Yeah, us girls, we know. It's fine. No?
We'll see.
The next one comes from Denise. She says, in the Muggle world, we'd say Marge is full of hot air, and Harry makes her literally full of hot air. Two worlds meeting.
Love it.
Yes. I would not want to pop her. Ew. It'd be like, what's her name in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Oh, and she has to be squished.
Go to the
'cause she's-
juicer.
Yes.
Bring it to the
Is
juicer.
that Veruca Salt?
No,
No.
it's Veruca
Okay.
Salt. Angela Hickey says, "What is a Death Eater?"
A Death Eater is one of Voldemort's people.
One of his followers.
Yes, yeah, one of his followers. That's what they would call themselves.
Dare I say, a cult following.
Yeah.
I would say that. Elizabeth asks, are there children with magical power that don't go to any wizard school?
That is a great question. So there's the squibs, who are children who are born of wizards but who don't have magical powers, the opposite of a muggle-born child. So the squibs probably don't get to go to Hogwarts. I wonder where they get to go, the poor little bubs. But are there children with magical powers that don't go to any wizarding school? There have to be some. Think of Credence.
Sure. Oh, it's Violet. Violet that turns into a blueberry. Yeah, not Veruca Salt. Sorry.
So, but I think they have to be big time under the radar. So Credence, of course, had an orphaned thing. I think they do everything they possibly can to get these wizard kids.
Yep. Yeah, you're turning violet, Violet.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's Thank you, Rachel, on Facebook for that. I appreciate that. Anna asks, has anyone else noticed and wondered why Hagrid's hut changes from being real close to the castle to down the hill from the third movie on? I feel like I did find out at one point, but I keep forgetting why the change happened.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think, in the first movie, I feel like they travel pretty far as little kids to get to Harry. When Emma Watson is mouthing the words on the way down, at the same time.
Yeah.
I feel like they travel pretty far. But you're right. I think there might be a small difference. Okay, let's see.
That's it.
Oh, Tammy says Ariana Dumbledore did not go to Hogwarts.
Wasn't she a squib? Or was she just... Was she not a squib and she was so emotionally distraught from...
Isn't Ariana an Obscurus? Wasn't that what it was?
Oh. Goodness me.
I'm going to find out. Vamp for me. Hold on.
Yes.
I vaguely remember
Yes.
Ariana being an Obscurus.
I'm just going to sit here and be upset with my lack of knowledge right now. Because it has been a wee while since I've read that book. Oh, goodness me.
Yes.
I believe Obscurus sounds correct, but we wouldn't have necessarily known the term, right? Oh, well.
It's just a fan theory right now.
She couldn't control her magic, says Tammy. Rachel says she refused to use magic and became an Obscurus.
Yes.
Oh, man. Well, we'll be digging deep into that in several books from now.
Yes, we will. Yes, we
Okay.
will. Okay, so yeah, but I think that is a reasonable suggestion that she would be an Obscurus or she is an Obscurial, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it. I think that's all we got for the questions.
Ian wants to know, is Patronus is a white stallion? What is yours, Blake and Mary?
Oh, I don't remember what mine is.
I feel like mine is on the app. I forget what mine is.
We will find out.
Wowed. Yeah, I wasn't wowed by my Patronus.
Wasn't yours an otter?
No, that's Hermione's.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's Hermione's.
Yeah. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll look it up and we'll remember and we'll talk about it next episode.
All right. On that note, let's close out the show.
Yes, let's absolutely do it. Okay, cool.
People
Allison
say
says
so much.
Allison says, "Nice nerd flex, Blake." All right, let's do it. Yeah, the thing. It's a crutch. It's like when I'm thinking, I'm trying to.
No, I said we both say it. We're like an chorus.
Yeah, right. Okay, let's do it.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you're not on our texting reminder service, you're going to want to get on that action. Of course, the phone number, if you're in the U.S., you're going to text to the phone number 81010-81010, and then in the message field, @Elderwand, the @ symbol ELDERWAND. It's going to get you on our complimentary texting service, and those of you who are on it, I'm going to get better at it. I apologize after a wee little break. I fell off the habit of doing it earlier in the day,
Yeah,
so I
it's
will
fine.
get back in the habit of doing it earlier in the day. Nonetheless, you'll always get a text right before we go on live.
And I want to let everybody know that we are only 15 members away from, at the jointhenerdclan.com, from you folks deciding our next podcast.
Woohoo!
We will have suggestion thread at jointhenerdclan.com. We will take all the most popular suggestions, put them in a vote, and we will then all vote on them, and you will decide our next podcast. Whenever we hit that number, we're only 15 members away. So if you got a friend, tell him. If you don't, tell the random dude down the street. Tell Uncle Ted, the guy that you hate. That's it. All right, so that's it for now.
Could be a holiday present. Hey, I signed you up. For now, my name's Mary.
My name's Blake.
Mischief managed. All right, ladies and gents, thank you so much for tuning in. We say it all the time. This is our Lumos and our time of Nox. For those of you who are praying or like send warm energy into the world, please do so for my family. We're having some situations right now with COVID. So if I've seemed a little off tonight, that is why. Apologies. But, Blake was asking me, like, are you sure you want to do this tonight? And A, I want to because I want to show up for you all. But B, this is a great thing for me to escape in. So we've chosen to do this because I feel like a lot of us do need to escape every once in a while.
Yes.
So thank you for letting us escape into this chapter with you. And we will talk with you soon.
All right, guys. Thank you